This scene has been taking a lot longer than I wanted it to, so future me is going to lock in on it while current me gives you some monologue. I had originally begun documenting this process as a way to both work on my animation and practice using the editing software that I'll be compiling these scenes in. But while I'm here, another big reason is because I wanted to be very honest about what is happening with the rest of my life as I'm working on this. Artists can be reluctant to share that kind of information, and that's understandable. It can feel embarrassing, unnecessary, and panhandly, but somebody has to do it. So, here's some information you didn't ask for. Exactly 1 year ago, in August of 2025, a series of incredibly difficult personal circumstances began to rip me a new set of eyes. I was not in a good space, and this is where some of my other animations came from, as a way to both process and find comfort in the one thing I always had: art. Then, in December of 2025, just at the tail end of those circumstances, I lost my graphic design job. I'd already been looking for another one because I only made $12 an hour, but the business I was working for couldn't afford to keep me on anymore. And knowing that I was already looking, we came to an agreement that I would leave. No hard feelings. But that did mean that I was out of a job. Fortunately, my boss had been a really chill lady, so she signed off on unemployment for me. But that only lasted for so long. I tried really hard to find another job, anything related to my experience. I'd worked in a medical facility, industrial sewing, and the graphic design I'd been doing spanned anything from local schools to sports teams, stationery printing, and managing online stores for companies. But none of it was enough for the positions in my area, and I was out of money. So, I ended up as a temp worker in a warehouse. I didn't mind it. I like walking and picking up heavy things. But unfortunately for me, after a little while, I could no longer hide the nerve damage I'd been acquiring from the physical demand. And just as I feared would happen, the very day after I informed my supervisor, I was once again unemployed. My first job was in a sweatshop. Yep, that's right. I sat at a sewing machine from which I was not allowed to move unless absolutely necessary. One day, in a particularly bad winter, a storm came upon us. Naturally, the people around me began to stand and try to peek through the only window in the whole building that wasn't boarded up, in the front office, to make a call for their own safety. But the managers didn't like that, so they shut the office door and told us all to sit back down, that nobody was leaving. And because I was young, and afraid, and uneducated in my rights, I hesitated to leave. And by the time I did, I couldn't see the road. So I followed the truck in front of me until it turned off, and I was left alone. I flipped my car off of a construction site because there was no guardrail, and the first person I called was not the police, but my supervisor, to tell her that I would not be in to work the next morning. Why did I tell you that? Because I want to be very clear that your job does not care about you. And as I sat a few weeks ago, once again freshly disposed of, I remembered that. With that previously mentioned freshly ripped set of eyes, I've taken a good hard look and decided that I've put myself second for far too long. And for what, I'm not even certain. So here I am once again, with no income, nothing lined up, and just enough savings to coast for a couple of months while I do one thing for myself and finish this project to prove that I can. This, like many times before, is a brief interlude in which I may take a step back, assess my life, and decide what to do next. For this moment, I'm ignoring every other responsibility, every opinion, every learned anxiety that urges me to get a job for the sake of having a job. I've shut myself in with only one thing to wake up for every day. The thought has occurred to me many times. I could do that. And yet, I have not. So it's about time that I did. Someday is today. If you're wow, okay. If you're facing a situation, my favorite thing to do is to just close your eyes and run straight at it. Or keep your eyes open, I don't know. Just run straight at it. Okay, that's all that matters.